Hi everyone. It's Remembrance Day, and obviously a lot of our thoughts go to the people who have passed in past wars, and a lot of people went through a lot of suffering and pain and have their own battle themselves. Like you could be a person that's suffering from a terminal disease, or a person that's suffering from mental illness, or a person that's suffering from abuse. I think, and obviously the wars that have been fought throughout history, it's all battles of every type. We need to look at it and we need to stop it. How do you stop war? You stop what's influencing it, but we are influenced by war. I did a journey into this, and it just was weird. And I did, like, it was just a weird journey. And when they get like that, it's like, because I do journey sometimes. Like the last one on the third eye, I had no idea what I was getting into, and it was really different. But it was meant to challenge you. Your third eye is meant to challenge you, or to show you that when you do work with your third eye, it's not always pretty. So you have to be prepared for that. So that third eye video is about you understanding that when you go in a third eye, it's not always going to be pretty. But it also shows you how to use your heart to navigate through them really messed up areas that nothing can touch you, nothing can hurt you, and you're able to transform it. It's like war. How do we transform war? It's kind of like we have to stop allowing the influence of war to affect us. And the journey I was in was this being was being influenced, but there was a reset button or a shut-off button, like an emergency stop, that wasn't connected. So I had to reconnect that, and I stopped it. But by doing that, there was a lot of pain and suffering. And you literally had to make part of it, you had to merge those being together again. It was just very strange. And so I decided not to go forward with that, even though I just did it like 10 minutes ago. It's just not, it's one of those things that you can't really share it because people won't understand it. Or if they do, it's just not the best, It's just not meant to be ever to be shared, and that's something that you do sometimes when you do journeys. I do so many, I never share. Like I might share 10% of them, even less sometimes. And my wife Abbey, she does way more. Like she's constantly doing journeys. So it's like you're constantly exploring into things and looking at things. But how do we stop war? By being the best person we can be, to choose to stand up when we have to stand up. To be the best person we can be. But how do you stop another country? That's why it's so painful. We have to hold people accountable for their actions. But then who's right and who's wrong in society? Like, you look at every country. You could look at Russia, you could look at China, you could look at South America, Africa, Europe, North America. Who's right and who's wrong? Everybody has their own interpretation of it. So you could be, well, the persons that were free and everybody's treated equally. Well, even in our own country, that's not the case anymore. Everybody isn't treated equal. It's very obvious. We can bring people in to the country, give them everything to start a new life. And we have people dying in the streets that's been here their whole life. We have certain types of communities that are put on a pedestal and other ones that are not. Like people say race is also an influencer of that. We don't treat each other equally. And that's a big problem. Every religion has its own interpretation of the truth. Every scientist, philosopher, archaeologist, mathematician, everybody thinks they know the truth, and everybody's interpretation of that is different. You break down the foundation of what war is. I'm right and you're wrong. Period. I'm right and you're wrong. And because I'm right, I'm going to destroy you. And that could be simply religion. Could be one aspect of it. It could be race. Another aspect. I'm going to destroy you because you're a different color than me. I'm going to destroy you because you have long hair and I have short hair. I'm going to destroy you because you believe in a God that's the same as mine but is slightly different, so I'm going to kill you for that. When are we going to get over the idea of killing each other is wrong? It makes no sense. But what do you do when you have a civilization that takes a baby, it trains it to hate another race its whole entire life? So now it grows up that it's literally said, if you go and destroy one, you're going to go to heaven and you're going to have all kinds of things, all the wonderful things that you ever wanted. But they're taught to hate their whole entire life. Is that person wrong? One time that child was innocent. The man corrupted it. The woman corrupted it into something that we would call evil. But is it truly evil? Because if you took that same child and put it into a home and treated it with love and kindness and with all kinds of philosophies, understanding about different races of people and how beautiful everyone is, would that person be the same? So what is the true cause of war? And it's all about hatred. It's all about indifference. It's all about I am right and you're wrong. So how do we stop this? Because we're all tired of it. Or simply, it could be there is no way that we can stop war. There's always going to be people that are corrupt and evil in this world. So you could say, I'm going to now say that my belief system is the best, and I'm going to kill everyone else that disagrees with me. And I have the power to do that. So I go ahead and I wipe out every civilization that disagrees with me. I pass on. Another 100, 200 years later, they're all separated and crazy again, and now they're beating each other up or killing each other, or somebody wants to be in charge. Somebody has a different belief system now. I'm no longer here. Somebody's going to come along and say that I'm right, and then somebody else is going to come along, and then the war starts all over again. Never ends, never stops. So the influence of a war, you could say, is chaos or evil. But is it really? It's a person's search for power, or a person's search for power is the wrong word. It's more like control of someone else. I want to control you, or I want to destroy you because you're different. But that is control, isn't it? Huh? If you don't believe what I do, I'm going to kill you. It's all about control, because that person says, "Oh well, I'm now part of your belief system." So I said, "Okay, now you can be part of our society." What happens if we're simply just in a video game? When we die, we go back and we go, "Oh well, what game do we want to play this time? What year do we want to go to? What part of the universe do we want to go to?" All I know is if I pass on, I'm going to punch the person in the face that told me to come here. Just because I can. Because this isn't the funnest world to live in when you have a mind like mine. Because you see the potential in everyone, and you have to suffer through life doing things that you probably don't necessarily want to do, just because you have to do it in order to put food on the table. You can't truly live life. There's always somebody that dislikes you, even though you haven't done anything. See, this is what life is like. You go through life with somebody hating you all the time when you haven't even done anything to them, or at least you think you didn't, but for some reason they don't like you anyway. You're brought up to hate and to be a certain way, even though that person might not even have done anything. There's people brought up in this world that hate somebody they haven't even met. I hate you because you're white. I hate you because you're black. I hate you because you're a Jew. I hate you because you're Islam. I hate you because you're Christian. I hate you because you have long hair. I hate you because you're a woman. I could go on and on and on and on about how many ridiculous reasons we put forward to hate someone or something. It's one of the things that I think we all suffer from. We suffer from trying to figure out what the hell is going on in this world and other people's minds, and why we have to be cruel. Because when you're not a cruel person, it's you could deep down in, like, I could do journeys into all these categories, and Abbey could do the same thing. And we have differences of opinion, but ultimately we both want a world of peace. A world where people can actually do the things they want to do. A world where people work together. But not a boring world. Not a world where you're forced into doing something you don't want to do. No, a world where people strive to be the best they can be. There has to be challenges. There has to be creativity. There has to be competition, but in a fun way. It can be hard, but it doesn't have to be cruel. It doesn't have to be hate. But we live in a world full of it. So what causes it? You could say, oh, it's the devil. Well, is it the devil, though? Is it Lucifer? Is it all these demonic beings? Is it really them? Or it's how we're brought up and how people treat us that make us the way we are. And we use these other things as excuses to do the things that are really bad. You could say that Jesus is Jesus. He's like love. You could say, but he controls love. Like, love is not control, it's the wrong word. He uses love in order to be able to put his message across. And you could say Satan uses his chaos. But in both cases, they're both in balance. Because you take pure chaos, it's totally destructive. You take love, and it's basically creation. So they're both the opposites of each other. They both have parts of each other. But chaos has no plan. It doesn't know what it wants. It just wants to destroy, because it's trillions of parts of things that when we break, it goes to chaos, parts of it. So that's what chaos is. It never knows what it wants. But when you use it in a controlled way, you can do some serious problem. You can do some serious damage. Like, it's one of those topics that is so difficult to truly look for an answer. So I'm going to go to my guides. I'm going to go to the universe and ask. Get a message about this, because today is about remembrance of people that died in battle of some form. So what do you do about it? And people might get offended for me saying that. That's Remembrance Day. It's only the people that died in war. I disagree with it. So Remembrance Day is about everybody who died in battle of some form. Because not all wars are fought like a typical war is. Wars are fought in many, many different ways. And there's some pretty extraordinary people that never set foot on a battlefield that fought things that were 1,000 times worse. So let's not forget them. I'm just connecting onto my guides. And I see a specific line and then spinning. And I'm falling down, like literally, kind of like a cheesy B movie. And I'm falling down this vortex that's spinning. It's just the way it's being shown. It's like really bad CGI. But when I hit the bottom, I hit spikes. And it's like I look around and there's thousands of spikes with people on them. And now I'm standing beside myself looking at myself. So it's weird to see your body dead on a spike. But I see so many other bodies that are dead on their spike. And there's parts of themselves that are looking at their bodies, wondering what just happened. Why is my body on a spike? And I see there's like the ceiling comes down like a press, basically. And it comes down really fast and really hard, and I lay flat on the ground, and this like pushes these spikes down, goes back up, and this press comes down again and pushes the spikes down, forcing them back into the ground. And I'm looking at a place that's like this whole place is going to be crushed. So what if I stay here? I'm going to get crushed into this solid rock. Or what should I do? And it's like I have to make a decision really fast. And I see a cave, and I instantly go to the cave, and I run and do a somersault into the cave, or a roll into the cave. And literally these things keep coming down until there's nothing left again. And I look out, and it's just a flat surface with no spikes, no bodies. Everything's just been moshed into the solid rock. You would never know that there was anything ever there. And they're asking a question to you, everyone that's listening. How many times in history has our history been erased and there's nothing there? I want you to think about that. How many times has history been erased and restarted again? Because I'm in a cave, and I see an underground city, and there's nothing here alive. There's actually bodies everywhere, just like skeletons. It's kind of like it's kind of like an Uncharted scene where you're walking through skeletons everywhere. And they're crunching and breaking underneath your feet. And there's this ancient ruins, ancient city that's been here for. The problem is that I'm talking. They're saying hundreds of thousands of years old. Not thousands of years old, hundreds of thousands of years old. And when you're walking here, everything just turns to dust. You walk on a body part, and it just turns to dust. It just falls apart to dust. But the buildings are still intact. And there's a statue of a man it's like an old, like he has a big long beard, and he's holding a huge it's a trident, I guess. And it's, because it has three things, but it's like very long. Very long. So if it holds it at his chest, the trident goes. The prongs go way above his head. It's very unusual what this is, and he's holding it in the center. So usually a trident is really long handle, and the blades parts are very short. Well, this is it's almost the same length. The blades are the same length as the handle, because it's not a weapon. Something else. That's coming to me is something else. I'm not sure what the else means, but it's not a weapon. And the thing starts to come to life, and the stone falls off around it. And this being takes one step forward, and now this thing is spinning, and is creating a vortex, and it pulls all the dusty, broken bodies and pulls them into, just pulls them all away, and it's crystal clean. There's nothing left. And he says, how many times has our history been erased? And I look back, and I'm standing at a statue that's a statue again. And this place is crystal clean. There's nothing left. You would never even known there was a body here. The cave is clean. The only thing that's left, the whole city's gone. The only thing that's left is a statue. But it's not a statue. It came to life, did it not? I walk up to the statue and I touch it, and it turns to dust. There's nothing there. And how many times in history has our civilization been erased? How long has war been around for? There's something underneath. There's something about this place that's different. The ground is different. It's almost like now I see myself on a ship. Because the whole place is, what feels weird about it is I feel like I'm moving. I was just in a cave, but then I look out and I see a totally different planet. And I'm in a huge ship. And the ship instantly goes from one space to another, and I'm looking at the Earth. And I see massive bombardment of the Earth. And how many times has our civilization been erased? I'm standing in a mountain, like Mount Everest, really tall, and I'm looking at the mountain peaks poking up out of the cloud cover and above the clouds. When you look at this scene, you see nothing but mountaintops covered in snow and clouds, nothing else. You don't know what's underneath the fog or the clouds. So when you stand in the crust of the earth, you have no idea what you're walking on. You have no idea what the history is that you're stepping on. You don't know what's beneath the crust of the earth. How many times has our history been erased? And is the truth being told about our history? Or is there much more that we know that we don't say, we can't speak? And I see many people that have their mouth is like not there. It's gone. I see some people with the mouth is sewn shut and surgically removed. I see a person on their knees begging, and their hands get cut off. And they're just, because they simply want to speak, and their mouths are sewn shut. Their hands are cut off, and their feet are cut off. And they're sat and told to stay in a chair, and the chair goes into like a freezer, and they just become part of many other bodies that are frozen with no hands and no feet, and their mouth sewn shut. And I see this happening time and time and time again. And now I'm in a spaceship, and I'm going to a different planet. And the cargo hold is full of bodies with no hands and no feet and their mouths sewn shut. And it opens up, and into, like, it goes into a different planet and opens up and it fills this, it looks like a lake or something with bodies. The ship flies away, and the bodies are all like fished out. It's like this is a processing plant, food for another planet. It's interesting because I don't know why they keep showing all these other things, and this is all about war. It's all about why war exists. They show a man sitting in a chair, and he's connected with wires, all kinds of wires. And this man can see into multidimensional spaces. And he sees the earth. And he sends messages out to other races of beings about the earth. He himself goes to the earth in his mind. He walks like a physical being. He actually can go into an actual person, take over their mind, and become them. He pushes the soul out, and the soul actually is pushed out of the body. And he now is he takes over this, and he's in another planet. And he literally just pushes their soul out of the body and uses their body as, like, you would never know. And these people literally just get up and leave. They disassociate from anybody that this person ever is. They would just leave and never be seen again. But they would just simply go to a different part of the world and start a new life. And then that being would just die, and now this being does it to someone else. So there's a whole lifetime. The question is, what happens? And I see a whole planet full of these beings, and they connect on to different places in the universe. What happens if this being is put to sleep with an automatic program that never stops? And you're simply just put from into one body after another, and it lives and it dies, it lives and it dies. But the body that you're in that other planet, the one that you're originally from, never dies. So who and what are you exactly? Would you even know that you're even that being anymore? Because it seems like, it's like, I don't know why they're telling me this, but it seems like there's actual beings of races of people that go into babies, push their soul out of the baby, and take over that, and now this becomes actually how they live their life. And they don't even know that they're doing it. They die, they go back into the other body, but the other body doesn't wake up. It's purposely kept asleep. And there's a race of beings that are purposely keeping these beings asleep because there's something extremely dangerous about them. And they do much less harm this way than they do if they're able to come alive, come awake. And they can't be killed. They're indestructible in a way. You could kill it's like almost like if you're energy, you can't really kill the energy. Energy is always there. It never ceases to exist. And take my word for it, people tried to wipe them out and they couldn't. So does that mean the world is full of, they're telling me it's not just simply the Earth, it's all throughout the universe. These beings go in and do this too. It's just something to think about. And they say, how many times has blah, 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 blah. The same message What is it you truly know about yourself, about the world, about the earth? Is nothing. So war has been around and never will go away in the physical world. There's always going to be somebody that falls into the influence of the chaos realms, into evil, so to speak. There always will be. That's why people come into the physical world, in order to experience this. Doesn't make our lives any easier. But they're telling me that that's part of life. However, how many times in history has everything been reset? There's something very important about the understanding about our history. We can choose to eradicate evil on our planet. If we chose to, we would have peace for a time, until, of course, we choose to go the other direction. But if we choose goodness, you have to stand up for that, and there will be war, because that's the only way of doing it, because you can't eradicate a civilization that is out to eradicate something else. They're never going to understand anything except war. So I guess they're telling me that war has to happen sometimes in order to have peace. You can't shut the machine off of war without pain and suffering. There's no way of doing it in the physical realms. The only way you can do it is eradicate people that think that way. And this isn't not what I thought I would hear. They're telling me the only way to stop evil that wants to utterly destroy other people is to simply eradicate it or trap it. But that is even incorrect, because that now, all that time and effort and money is pull the money out of the equation, time and effort to keep that person alive that wants to simply eradicate someone else. Why would we do that? Just throw them in an incinerator and get it over with. There's a long pause here, because we're back into looking at a room, a city, an ancient city. As soon as you eradicate someone, that person had a family. Now that family hates you for killing them, or some form of them hates you for killing them. Creates more hatred. You killed them 5 people, and now those 5 people also had friends and family. Now you're dealing with 20, then you're dealing with 1,000, then you deal with 100,000. Now you have millions of people that hate you and millions of people that love you. It's a never-ending cycle. The only way to truly eradicate war and evil is to do it within yourself. As soon as you lift a hand to kill someone else, to destroy something else, it creates, you could say that person's now a martyr to someone or to something. We come here to learn. Some of us learn, some of us do not. So you look at this whole situation and say how ridiculously complex it is, because how do you stop war? You stop war by eradicating it within yourself. If you don't do that, war will never end. It'll always be there. Hate will always be there unless you eradicate it within yourself. And we know that's not going to happen. They're telling me flat out, that's never going to happen. So now you're left with choices. But this ancient city that I'm standing in front of made a choice. And now nobody's left in that civilization that remembers it. It's erased from history. And I see there's nothing except solid rock. There's nothing here at all. Long, long time ago, the ceilings collapsed. The people and bones turned to dust. And it's now simply just dirt. Everything eventually will break down. And it will never be there. It'll be erased from history. It's not an easy thing to swallow, is it? It's not an easy thing to look at. It's not an easy thing to really overcome. Because I can choose to change. What about the other 7 billion plus people in the world? If they're not willing to change, we have to live in a world full of 7 billion people that want to kill you. Just an example. You will be killed. Just hope you're not one of those mother that are stuck in another planet in an endless loop. They're going to be brought back again by sacrificing a soul that was meant to come here. Or maybe you're doing that soul a favor. Depends on how you look at it, I guess. We're mixed, the human race. There is no one human race. We're parts of many, many, many different alien beings all throughout the universe. Our souls are. Our souls are ridiculously vast. Live many lifetimes and everywhere in the universe. I think they wanted you to really understand the vastness of the problem. And I think they did a pretty good. I think it's a pretty good understanding of how vast and complicated things really are. One thing, we don't know the truth anymore because they never tell us the truth. Everybody lies. Everybody wants to manipulate the truth because of the ego, because of power, because of control. Until we choose to change ourselves, there's nothing we can do to change the world. But take care of yourself. Become a better person. To help as many people as you can, because that's what changes the world. It's not going to be an easy fix. You could say that, say if Jesus comes back or another savior comes back, an alien race that comes to the world, you still have to choose good over evil. Because if you don't do that, does it matter if an alien race comes down? Well, what happens if the alien race is evil and wants to eat us? It sounds like that's happening already. What do you do then? Do you fight against an alien race? You're going to have to. Otherwise, you're going to be food on the table, or you're going to just be dust. You always have to stand up for what is right. The problem is what is right is so different for every individual. But I think overall, though, people that are truly striving to be good are able to compromise, are able to work together for the greater good. The problem is that very few people are doing that now. There's an agenda that's forcing people apart. That's not coincidental. It's for a purpose. It's for a reason. So we have to choose to be as good as we can, and that's the only way things are ever going to truly change. Thank you, and have a wonderful day. And if you want to do a journey with me, you can visit my website at almondrostawakening.com. Please share and like my videos, comment, any requests, anything you want me to look into. I'll try. I'm not saying guarantee I can do everything, but I do look at them, and if it's something that connects to my heart, I will do it. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day.